I might just make a brief presentation for our team. And it's a pleasure to be with everybody. I'm sorry that this very important endeavor was so short in many ways to be able to comprehensively present what the final product of the intentions are. However, my team has worked very hard, and unfortunately without any contribution from our Somali designated members. So today we have Alici Speziale, and we have Sajida, and we have Carlos, and we have Alici, you're working with Romy, and Carlos working with Sajida. And thank you. Go ahead, Alici.
Thanks again for this opportunity to share to you our project. Our project aims to offer a solution that allows an emergency settlement to evolve into a long-term one while ensuring respect for human dignity, cultural needs, and hygienic and sanitary conditions. Next. So, yeah. As I was saying, next. So in our project, we are going to focus on construction and building material, earth and environment, and respect for social and cultural dimension. So to develop our project, we started analyzing the previous proposal to try to understand how we could improve this project. So one of the main issues that we identified was the rigidity of the housing grid. And this kind of layout creates a monotonous, impersonal, and repetitive environment, which can affect negatively the residents' sense of belonging to the place. Next. Secondly, we noticed that also was a lack of understanding for the cultural needs of close outdoor space. And in the photo, we could see that the inhabitants started during the time to enclose the private space with recycled material, and this was affecting negatively the development of the settlement. Next. So for this reason, with our project, we want also to give a closed outdoor space, which allow us to control, let's say, the external development of the project, but also to give an external private courtyard, but also a space to expand their home. Next. Also, we designed some semi-private space in which people can start to get to know each other and build up a familiar environment, which is going to be shared among a couple of shelters. And yeah, next, please. So these are the main features of our design. We are using dry toilet, a simple and feasible water drainage, a shared wood construction. Even though the last time someone of you said that so many people, they don't like to share wall, we want to point out that these hurt adobe wall are about 60 to 70 centimeter thick, so they will ensure enough privacy within the shelter. Then we are designing a safe space for women, children, and elderly, encouraging the rainwater harvesting. We are recycling the grey water, designing outdoor space, and also, as we will see in the master plan, we are designing some area for facility and social and cultural space. For the material, we are using Adobe, Arch and Bolt. This technique doesn't require wood, the use of wood, and also they are costless, fire resistant, and sustainable. And then we are using lime to ensure the durability of the Adobe construction. So we want also to focus in training. For us, this is a very important part of the project. We want to build with the community for several reasons. The first one is to introduce a sustainable practice in Somalia because there are too many buildings made out of concrete or with CGI shelter, and also because we can pay the future inhabitants to build their own home and also to create new job opportunity. So the training part is going to be divided in several steps. The first step will be a community meeting, so explain the project to the people and also to build initial trust. The second is going to be the Dollar Earth Lab, in which the inhabitants are going to start to create the Adobe brick, because we know that they need a bit like they need some weeks to dry, and this is ensuring that the people get to know the construction process and they know how to replicate it. And also it's going to be, it is important to including all the groups so the people can start to get to know each other. And yes, then there is going to be an advanced training in which people are going to start to build the shelter and learn how to build the vault and the arch. Then a first step is going to be the monitoring, in which the IOM needs to follow the community in order to see if they know properly how to take care about their homes. Then the fifth step is going to be the scalability and customization. So people already will know how to build and how to take care, and they can replicate it, and also customizing, and they can start to expand their home. The sixth point is very important for us because the earth is a recyclable material, and it can be recycled without further processing. And it is very important because an emergency project is not going to last forever, and so it's going to be very easy to recycle the material of the buildings. Next.
So yeah, I'll continue from here. This is the shelter. It's built in a vault, like we said. So
Voice, Romy.
Can you hear me? No. Can you hear okay?
No.
You can try joining on your phone and just use your phone as a microphone.
You really can't hear?
No, Romy.
It's very muted, Rami.
What?
Volume. Try the volume, Romy.
The volume is
Go with your telephone, as Saj is saying.
yeah, I'm gonna try to connect with my phone. It's gonna take just a second. I apologize for the delays. Yeah, but I think I need to
Okay, maybe while you are doing that, I can continue. Or
yeah, I just if you can
Okay.
share the screen and because
no,
can't
now
do-
I can hear you better.
You can hear now? Okay, so
Yeah.
let's give it a try. Okay, so stop me if you can't hear. I'll try to speak loud also.
Thank you.
This is a basic shelter unit. It's based on the vault, like we mentioned before, with an enclosed outdoor space, which can be used as a wall base to add an additional vault whenever they want to expand the building. The vaults or the shelters are organized like this to collect rainwater from the roofs into a cistern in a shared courtyard, which is drained out into the streets in case of an overflow.
Louder.
Yeah, the module looks like this. 1, 2, and 3, which is a slightly bigger shelter for bigger families. They have a shared courtyard in the middle for the 3 of them, and they have their own private courtyards and their rainwater harvesting. This is just an example of expansion possibilities, how they can still keep their courtyard and add a second level or another vault, or however they choose to expand. And this is what it looks like as a block of a few clusters together. So here it is from a plan view. We see the 3 different modules. So the 2 smaller modules that we have that are suitable for 4 to 7 people, and the larger module, which is suitable for 6 to 12 people. Because we know there are large families. They're all gathered around a shared courtyard, which is used for, community, farming, agriculture, and the water collection. And here's the water collection from the roofs into an underground cistern. The private courtyards, which they each have for themselves, also, which are the more private spaces, more to be used by women for gardening, for cooking. And they all also have a front porch that is accessible from the main street. This is a porch that's suitable more for the use of the men and is a potential place to start a home business that's accessible from the street. Also, they all have dry toilets, which have been opening towards the outside the plot to allow collection of the waste and allow off-site treatment, so they can just come and collect it while they're not without entering the premises of the house. So there is just a small opening to the back. You'll see it later. So this is the basic shelter unit. This is how it starts, with 1 vault and another part of the vault just for shading of the kitchen and the toilet. And later on, and then the interior walls, they could be customized according to the needs of the residents. So, and you can also see here some expansion possibilities. So they can choose if they want to divide the space into 2 rooms, into 3 rooms, if they want to keep a bigger porch, or want to take that into something else, and how they wish to expand it. So this is just a general idea. The gender segregation here is also taken into consideration, where the front porch is more for the men that go in from the street. They enter the house. They usually use the main living room and maybe one of the bedrooms. And the women can go in from a separate entrance through the shared courtyard directly into the kitchen, into the closed private courtyard, and to another bed that's separated.
Okay, so this is a view, front view and a back view, just to have an overlooking of the architecture. You can go next. So here we have an axonometry. We are showing the shelter when it's going to be divided in 3 rooms. We want to show that even if this small space is divided in 3 rooms, we are allowing the future families to have enough space to use. Here, as you can see, the kitchen is gonna be open toward the outside, and is gonna be surrounded by a vault. This for us was very important because the adobe, as we already said, is fireproof, and yeah, this is very important. And also we are showing a bit of the use of the courtyard that can be used for farming, for instance. Next. Yeah, also this is a view of the shared courtyard. As we can see here, this is just a proposal in how they can use this space. This courtyard is going to be shared by 3 families. So according with their needs, they can use for farming, to have a playground or sitting areas. Then we have this line of the rainwater collection, which are somehow dividing the space that is belonging to every shelter, let's say. So there is not going to be fight among the people, and they know more or less which space in the courtyard they have. This is just a overall view. This is going to be for us like a safe space for women. As we said before, the front porch, you can move to the other one. Okay, yeah, the courtyard is going to be also like a safe space for kids, but not just for kids. We have also this to think about people with less mobility, as people on wheelchairs, and also old people which maybe cannot walk to the main facilities, and they need a space to where to socialize. And also here, the kids can play freely without the family taking care of them, let's say. Next. This is a view of the front porch. As we said, is more related to the man, but just in the case in which the man wants to open a small retail shop, because the front porch is going to be connected to the main living room. And as we know, culturally, the living room is used by the man whenever they have men visitors. You can go next. Yeah, here we have a section. Yeah, we can see the kitchen and the living room. Next, please. Also here a long section, and on the left we can see that the front porch is used as a small shop. Next, please.
Can you hear me okay? Or
Yeah.
otherwise maybe so. Okay, if it's not, then tell me, and then you can just take over. So here's a section of the dry toilet, just to help you understand how this works. It's facing the inner private courtyard for every family. There's first a place for a washing area, a place to wash, and also a little elevated seat where you could put a bucket for washing hands or sit when you shower, and then another room for the toilet inside. And that room has this container underneath, which can be stored there for a while, a vent pipe, and it can be accessed through a door from the main street. Just the container part, not the entire room, of course. And then we found a reference of an association called La Vote Nubian. It is a French association which built these Nubian vaults from mud bricks across different places in Africa. They start from their construction, from the teaching and making the itself, and then construction to the finalized building. We're taking as a reference some of their technical details. So for example, the mud brick itself and the sizes, which are easy to use. Digging the foundations based on rock and also the layout of the bricks, which includes a lot of these sort of openings, which can be then later decided to be closed off as a niche or used as an opening. And this is to save material. The openings are built in this way, and the vault is built on top of them, and later the walls can be extended above. And here's an example of how they build the vault, just some easy techniques to make it simple. Use the hand to make the shape of the vault, and yes.
Yeah,
Materials.
I would just like to say that we introduced this NGO because we use some of their detail, especially for the niche, and just for this reason. And okay, this is a section where we are showing the materials. So we have sun-dried mud brick, which are bigger for the walls, and then a smaller one that are used for the vault. So Adobe Bricks, we decided to use this material because it can guarantee a fresh environment within the shelter, and also because, as we said, it's sustainable, and so it keeps the inside fresh. We also design some opening which allows cross ventilation, but also the warm air to go outside. To ensure the durability of the Adobe construction, we use line damp proofing for plastering the outside. And also we decided to rise up the shelter. So we have a linear foundation made out of stones and a mortar of lime. Underneath it, there is a drainage layer made out of gravel. And for what concerned the floor, we also raised the floor. We use 20 centimeter of crushed glasses, which can be used as a drainage layer. We didn't use it also for the foundation because it's less stable, and we thought that gravel is better from the foundation, but for the flooring is okay. And then we have a slab of lime mortar. And you can go next. Yeah, and also raising up the structure. The structure is very important in case of flooding. So we are really ensuring the durability of the mud brick construction. Next, please. So here we are to the cost. The estimation of the material is $1,600. We decide to don't use the cost of the mud brick that IOM gave to us because we, as explained, we thought that this mud brick should be built by the community, and all the money that we are saving, we can in a second moment we can pay the work of the inhabitants. But for what concerns Adobe brick, we still we are still considering the cost for the soil, the sand, the straw, and the water. All the material that are marked are all, like all the price are given by local expert, in this case by Jabir, that really helped us a lot in understand the prices that we were missing. And then we have the door. We decided to make the door with the plywood, and then we also added some buckets. Buckets are necessary for the dry toilet, but also in an emergency state, they can be used as a sink for the kitchen and also for the toilet. Yeah, and then
The training and labor.
Sorry?
Yeah, just the one last thing to add to this is, yeah, the total cost of materials, like you said, is $1,600. and with the extra $600.
Can't hear
Voice
you,
roaming.
Romy.
Okay. I'm saying the extra $600 is used for the training and labor costs. Can you hear?
Yes, now yes.
Okay. So yeah, I was saying that the extra $600 from the budget will be used for training and labor.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay.
So in order to develop the master plan, in this case, we are talking about Dolo. We had to analyze the site and can you go next? So the site is 35 minutes far away from the Dolo Center, which is a suitable distance, but that means that we have to design some facility within the new site. Next. So we know that there are a few facilities next to the new site, but also we decide to design other facility. There should be site specific. Next, like a recycling center, a community center, a mosque, a retail shop, school, kindergarten, and senior center. Next. Yeah, so with our design, we are trying to avoid this rigid grid design, as we will see. Next. And yeah, and then there's gonna be a sequence of private space, semi-private space, and community space, as we can see from this sketch. Next.
Yeah, so this is the site plan. Alicia, I don't know if you don't hear me well, maybe you can explain.
No, I
it.
can.
Okay, so yeah, this is the Dolo site plan, which is the site that we initially planned for. You can see the layout of the clusters together. We have a main central area in the center. If you notice, the lowest point in terms of topography is right in the center there, where we decided to keep an open green area because this is where all the water will accumulate eventually, and we want to avoid flooding. There's also a mosque in the center, and yeah, just community centers, which could be used as classrooms, as play areas, as workshops, and so on. There are a few water points, main water points spread across this area, which you can see the small blue circle, the light blue circle, and at the entrance of the settlement, there is a place for a market, which is accessible also from the main road from outside the settlement to allow trade with people who don't live there also, and of course administration, distribution center, a recycling center, and yeah, just also the community centers are spread around different areas to make the place more safe, to make people walk around the neighborhood and generally make it a safer and nicer place to be.
Yeah, I would like just to add something. For this presentation, we just show the master plan for Dolo, but we want to say that this project can be also built in like wherever, because in like almost all the places we have hurt, so let's say that we can build with hurt, and but it's very important to look at the specific context in order to design a settlement that works. That's it.
Thank you, guys. Romy, if you can stop sharing your screen, maybe, so I can share mine.
I think I stopped.
Yep.
Carlos, do you want to do it or do you want me to do it?
I can do it.
Okay, cool. Otherwise,
Do you want
I
to do
was
it?
like, no, it's okay. I was just prepping my screen. So I thought I was doing it. Go for
Very
it.
good. I have it. Can you see it? Yes, right. Cool. Menu, view, full screen mode. You can see it, correct?
Very good.
Great, let me just move this to the side. Cool. You ready, Saj?
Yeah, go for it.
Exciting. Good morning, everyone, or afternoon or night, wherever you are. My name is Carlos, my partner is Sajida, and our project is called HOY, which means Home in Somali, a system centering on mutual aid and human dignity. While researching Somalia's cultural context, we found a history of craftsmanship, from throwing clay to a unique weaving technique to self-built nomadic calls across the region. We also found archival images of mud used in local vernacular.
We focused on this rich history of mud brick architecture, from the old mosque in Zila to the Italian-era mud brick camps near Mogadishu. Somalia has significant precedents of mud brick housing and civic buildings, from the fortresses in Bosaso to intricate mud brick neighborhoods in Berbera from the Ottoman times. And recent precedents include work by Abdel Fahmi in Burao, and of course the IOM IDP housing in Dolo since 2022, indicating a rich history of adaptable craftsmanship. This adaptability is seen in modern akals as well, switching traditional thatch for fabric with and also metal sheeting in more recent times. Exploring Somalia's social and environmental conditions, we see that after decades of conflict and economic hardship, the land has been intensely deforested. Today, Somalia landscapes are bare due to human mismanagement and climate change, and this is especially evident at our sites where internal displacement and rapid urbanization have caused severe environmental degradation.
Knowing Somalia's morbid history and environmental crisis and the IOM's limited budget, we don't propose an architectural project. We are proposing a whole system of mud brick and permacultural education to create self-sustaining communities. As such, we can start imagining an IDP family. Architecturally, we give them the ability to be their own architects, capacitating them with classes by masters like Hassan Fatid did in Santa Fe in the 80s, for example. Then these locals are trained and capacitated as a community. Thus, we cut the middlemen, allowing them to build homes for their individual needs, and eventually pass this same knowledge to other generations of Somalis, who can then spread these building skills well beyond just Baidoa, Bosaso, and Dolo, whether they go back home to where they're originally from, or they decide to move or are displaced somewhere else from these camps that we're designing. Similarly, those same IDPs could be educated to farm regeneratively, like what the Food and Agriculture Organization is doing with the Great Green Wall of Africa project in places like Senegal, for example. Thus, learning how to reinvigorate the land, bringing their knowledge back home to their communities, and eventually spreading these skills around even if they face displacement again. In this way, we're building capacity within these communities to bring regeneration throughout Somalia and not just the sites in Baidoa, Bosaso, and Dolo. To achieve this, HOY first excavates soil from our 3 sites. Then we make mud bricks out of this soil, and finally we stop desertification using permacultural techniques by planting using permaculture in these different holes that we are creating throughout the sites.
Our system is simple. We start with a basic unit of 3 by 3 meters, replicate into 72-meter square shelters, which make up clusters with semi-public courtyards and adaptable settlements. This grid allows planned rigidity by limiting each unit's footprint while offering flexibility for the trained IDPs to customize their spaces with vaults, domes, and courtyards as they choose and need.
One rigid bounding wall that allows for an initial emergency shelter that can eventually become a full self-made home adaptable to each family. Different stages, but one single goal: dignified living for all IDPs and Somali population within the country.
Following Somali traditional domestic formalities, our logic adapts to front-facing guest spaces that might become men's living quarters at night, while giving women private areas all day long. Our logic allows kitchens to range from internal to outdoor, depending on what the family desires, and our sanitation facilities can easily be accessed through the courtyard, keeping the toilets outdoors but within the boundary of the home.
So we
One
have
rigid-
one rigid. Oh, sorry, no, Saj, it's
No,
your
go for
turn.
it.
Continue. Oh no, it's yeah. So it's one rigid grid and one hyper-flexible layout. So this encourages spatial customization by the IDPs themselves, depending on what each family needs, and have given them their capacity to choose what these necessities are, allowing IDPs to have agency over what's best for them and not making us assign what we think they need.
So instead of a one solution fix shelter that generalizes every family's background and needs, our system gives agency to families to make homes as they have been doing historically. But because Hoi, our system incites dignity from adaptability. And we can see that in the next three cases that we're going to put together now. So
Yes.
Yep.
So our case in Baidoa faces seasonal flooding with IDP groups displaced by drought, many of whom are from minority clans. For Baidoa scenario, we envision a family. Let's call them the Mohammed Abdi family. They have a hybrid inside-outside kitchen and subdivisible front rooms for guests. No one in their family has a disability and thus they add a second floor terrace. They are from a minority clan and prioritize outdoor private space.
Bosaso is an arid commercial coastal city that faces many IDPs in fear of displacement due to land tenure. Here, the Amr Yusuf family is of a pastoralist background. They don't like the idea of an interior kitchen, so they build a fully external kitchen in their courtyard. And despite losing most of their herd, they still have some goats, so they segregate a pen within their home. They also plant some palm trees and frankincense in hopes to generate additional income.
In Dolo, for example, a community in the border with Ethiopia, flood-displaced riverine communities might temporarily move, but need to learn how to make water-resilient infrastructure. Maybe it is the Abdullahi Noor family who are mostly women and have a long lineage of healers and midwives. Their kitchen, garden, and living rooms become temporal medical spaces during the day and living and sleeping spaces at night. They use our front guest space for medical visits during the day and their courtyards to grow medicinal plants like aloe, hadi, and dakar to treat patients. The units can be assembled in different configurations to adapt to the necessities of different communities.
And through this section, we can see how the street elevation starts to bring rainwater into towards the houses, where there's pipes that use gravity to guide the water into the courtyards, where the water winds and filters into the soil, allowing for variable ground conditions for these plants. This long pathway allows water to not only reach plants, but to percolate into local aquifers where it can later be extracted. Then what does not seep into the ground gets filtered into underground water storage for irrigation purposes.
This system is apparent in Baidoa, a flood-prone city where historically ostracized minority clans, like the Somali Bantu or the Gobaye, seek private communal spaces. Because of the steppe landforming for irrigation, the center of a cluster can become a clan meeting space as well. Thus, atop the water storage, you might see a monthly formal clan meeting, for example.
In contrast, in Bosaso, where it tends to be very arid, a community might decide to use their courtyard as an economically productive space. They might choose to grow native frankincense, which is also very profitable. Here, they decide to utilize the workshop in their cluster to commercialize and harvest. They treat and process it here so they can maximize on the nearby international port to sell their products, while also profiting locally under the public fabric verandas.
Lastly, in Dolo, being much closer to a river, it creates possibilities for more diverse plants. Again, maybe a couple of healers used to share farming courtyards to grow a large variety of medicinal plants. Mud, garas, or hari used for wound healing, stomach remedies, and coughs could be seen within these spaces. The fabric verandas outside create an informal waiting room for the local healers when they have people waiting at home, but it can also become just exterior public space when there's no one really waiting in line to go into these medical spaces.
This interplay of rigid boundaries with flexible possibilities also translates at the urban level. Our grid sees social condensers like mosques and souks as nuclei for the community, where clusters of homes surround these social condensers. The water collection system then flows beneath, and the permacultured green spaces start to sprout in between, creating a system for the IDPs to decide what they need in their own settlements.
Our residential spaces are clusters of 10 to 15 house units, bookended by small workshops for skill-based activities like pottery, weaving. Hoi includes spaces with each community for worship and centralized healthcare. Community centers, which would be initially served to teach the IDPs mud reconstruction and permaculture, would be indispensable to begin this educational project. Some of these spaces can be used for educational institutions and maybe some sports fields where community can also gather for mass celebration. The fabric verandas create spaces to socialize. The fabric verandas spaces to socialize, rest, and carry out informal commerce, while souks are formalized trade spaces. Farming can extend beyond the clusters, courtyards, and into public spheres. We also propose central water towers to pump drinking water from aquifers into the faucets of the cluster's semi-private courtyards. This means that water is accessible by a limited amount of people, and thus people don't have to go into public space, minimizing safety risks. The water pumped out of the aquifers would be replenished through the permacultural processes of the courtyards that Sajida mentioned earlier.
Our system considers the earth conditions around Somalia. So usually the earth is sunbaked during Jilal, making the ground water repellent during the goose season. So we proposed breaking the ground, oxygenating it while we gather the mud brick material. This allows for endemic pioneer species like chaddad to rehabilitate the soil by reintroducing nitrogen into the ground. This breaking of the ground allows, along with the root system of these plants, allow for aquifer replenishment, and it creates conditions for enrichment species like yehbes and bers to grow and breathe life back into the ground. These plants allow with time for growth of annual species while ensuring long-term self-sustaining microecosystems. With the excavation of the streets and the interior courtyards, we can collect enough earth volume to create not only emergency stage housing shelters, but fully functional, dignified homes. And depending on the site, oh,
Sorry, should I go?
Yeah.
You good. Depending on the site, the soil of Dolo, Baidoa, and Bosaso can be enriched to reach optimum mud brick strength. Or buildings would be damp-proofed using Salma's damp-proofing manual techniques, with a first layer of Magda, followed by a layer of Tarka, then covered with Sarush, then a layer of Kasha, and finished with a diluted lime wash, Rashasha.
And based on the IOM's pricing list, all the soil needed for the mud brick would be approximately $1,000, if not less. The stone varying from site to site, but more importantly, if we also pay 4 IDPs for 7 days of labor at $10 a day, each unit will average at less than $2,000 per unit. And this is not considering that we will source a lot of the soil, if not all of the soil, from the excavated landscape, as well as some of the stones for the foundation.
So this process is circular. That means that all the ground movements that we are creating to create the interior courtyards and the topography of the streets is the same material that we would use to actually make the mud brick that will go into the houses.
And it
Hoi
will get
propose-
back to the earth.
Correct.
Yeah.
After time, it can go back to the earth. So Hoi proposes physical implementations like architecture by enriching local capacity with education and land stewardship. Allowing for regenerative cycles of care based on value systems of self-reliance and adaptability for both the people and the earth alike. We are betting on the historic capacity of the Somalis people through these people, IDPs alike, to be resourceful and resilient, uplifting each other, their communities, and their land. This, of course, would not be possible without partners like IOM, the Somali government, Earth Architecture Labs, and even other UN entities like the World Food Programme.
Hoi is about systems of reliance and about care and dignified living. If we invest in the people today, they will create spaces and places to return to tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.